2023-24 season of the South Korean Professional Volleyball League, or V-League, is fast approaching. With many fans chomping at the bit for the start of the season, a lot of attention has been centered around the Gwangju Pepper Savings Bank AI Peppers and their new head coach, Joe Trinsey. He has extensive coaching experience, having worked with national volleyball teams in the US and Canada. And for this week's Touch Basin's Hole, he joins us via video call today to tell us about his decision to come to Korea and how he's adapting to life here, as well as his goals for the upcoming season. He's with us now. Coach Trinsey, hello and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So I understand that you came to South Korea in early July. How have you been finding living in Korea so far?
Yeah, actually, really enjoying it. I've been to Korea before and been to Asia a lot, and just been the organization's really kind of set things up well for me. And then once you get on the court, that's what a coach loves best. So that's been exciting for me.
You said you've been to Korea before. How often have you been?
I've only been to Korea one other time in 2018.
And that was with a team or just for holiday or?
Yeah, volleyball program. Yeah, so actually it was in Jeju. Yeah, I ran a volleyball program for some high school aged kids there. And now I'm back.
Okay, now you're back. This is your second time here. But this time you are here for the long term. How have you experienced the situation so far? Have you had any sort of culture shocks or anything like that? How have you been settling in?
No, I think I've gotten asked that a few times, but the thing about coaching and volleyball is the court's the same size, the net's the same height, gravity works the same way, well, regardless of what continent you're on. So it's probably the real challenge is probably more on my wife and family having to move and get all settled here. But for me as a coach, once you hit the court, it's easy.
Right, so on the court, there's no issues, but we're wondering, just like off the court, how have you been finding things like the food? Have you found a favorite Korean dish yet?
Yeah, probably pretty basic. I like the beef bulgogi. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that correctly, but that's a favorite of mine. We have that at the training hall, and I've been liking that.
Okay, so it sounds like you are settling in all right. So tell us about how you came to Korea to work with the Pepper Savings Bank AI Peppers. How did this opportunity come about?
Well, I'll tell you what, it was totally out of the blue. And the management team reached out to me and contacted me. And I'll tell you what, it was, as when you're a coach or in any profession, management might reach out to you from different organizations. And it wasn't a move that I was necessarily looking to make. And I almost just gave a thanks, but no thanks. But I just happened to be talking to a friend of mine who knew a little bit more about the Korean League, had a little experience in it. And he said, hey, you should just, it's probably worth giving that organization a call back and seeing what they have to say. And then once I did that, they outlined kind of their vision for how they want to improve the team. And it just really matched up with me as a coach. So then it was just, it wasn't even something I was looking for, but then it just was an instant fit.
So you said initially you were thanks, but no thanks. Why was that initially? Did you know much about the Korean League at the time?
I've been somewhat familiar with the Korean League because with coaching in USA women's national team, there've been some American players, obviously, that have played out here. So I knew a little bit about the league and some of that. It was more of just had a life with my family kind of settled in the United States. It wasn't something that we were necessarily looking to do. I was coaching in the kind of young startup professional league in the United States. So it just wasn't necessarily something I was looking for. But then just learning more about the opportunity here, I got pretty fired up about it. And then barely more than a week later, I was on the plane.
Wow. So it was within a week you were on a plane. What convinced you? What factors led to this decision to come here?
The opportunity is pretty exciting because there haven't been many foreigners coaching in the Korean League. And the management specifically told me that they wanted to have somebody who could blend some of maybe like the Western style of volleyball and that kind of training with with kind of the established background here in the Korean League, and the way that they outlined it, and the kind of the resources that they wanted to invest just in terms of the sports science, because that's a big part. For me, I come from a data analytics background, and they wanted to support that. And it just was kind of a pretty exciting opportunity because it's a young program. It's an expansion team. It's only in its third. Peppers are only in the third year, so the opportunity to kind of take something new and kind of enact my vision on it. Of course, for any coach, that's pretty exciting, I think.
Sure, I would still think that it's quite a daunting challenge coming to a new country and also a team that had been struggling recently. They finished last in the league last year, I understand. Did that concern you at all?
That's one of the challenges for sure, but it's also the opportunity, right? So, for example, when I was coaching with the USA Women's National Team, it was almost the exact opposite, where if you don't win every single match, your season's a failure. So, coming kind of from here, coming in at the ground floor, it's a real challenge because a lot of things need to change with the team and with the organization, but it's also an opportunity to start from a blank slate.
Okay, so you said a lot of things need to change. Can you give us maybe some examples?
Yeah, I mean, just changing everything about how we do it, right? So changing the system of play, the offensive system, changing the defensive system, changing the way we practice, changing the way we do strength and conditioning. Yeah, complete overhaul. And then for me as coach, trying to do that without, while still respecting the work that the players have put in, because hey, even though they didn't have the greatest result last year, it takes an incredible amount of hard work to win even one match in a professional sport. So it's not for lack of effort that the results weren't there, but we just need to change some of the playing systems.
And how have the players and the organization taken to the changes that you're trying to bring in?
They've been awesome. Yeah, the players want to win. They've been open minded. They knew. I told them I'm probably going to be the weirdest coach you ever played for, or at least seemed like it. Just coming a little different culture, a little different style of training. But they've taken to it, and I think we're seeing some progress. And we still got a lot more hard work still to put in.
What are some challenges coming as a foreigner teaching, coaching in Korea? For example, I would imagine there might be some language barrier issues or things like that.
Yeah, and it's interesting. The actual volleyball instruction it's not too hard. A lot of it you show video, you demonstrate. You can learn enough short little words. The hardest part is actually just kind of getting to know some of the players as people. Because if you're a leader, you have to care about your team, not just as athletes but as people, and that's harder to connect to because everything has to go through a translator there. So I feel like I probably come off a little aloof or a little stern, more than I'd like to at times, but that's on me. I just got to make the effort to let the players know I care about them as more than just athletes, and we're getting there.
Is there anything different that you've seen about how the players live their lifestyles here in Korea, or anything that you find surprising about the culture here that you weren't perhaps prepared for?
One thing that's a little bit different is how few of the players have families. So I think in some of the other professional teams that I've coached, and women athletes tend to have, I guess, I don't know how you would say it, but like smaller family size. So they're a little less likely to be married or have kids than male athletes, for example, because it's a little harder to have a family and raise a family while you're playing a sport. But it's pretty common for players on some of the Western teams that I've coached, very common for players to be married or even have a kid. And fewer of the players have had that. So they're still a little bit more, I want to say, like kind of just they're culturally a little bit more like university age. So there's a little bit more of that kind of age gap and trying to relate. Of course, I think like anybody in a management position, if you have younger employees, essentially, right, you got to relate to the new generations. So it's more of, in a lot of ways, I think it's less of a cultural divide. That stuff crosses pretty quickly. And they're curious to learn about, hey, what was your favorite food in the United States, or what did you do like this? They're all curious about that, and I'm curious too. So that divide actually crosses pretty easily. It's just more the common stuff of connecting to people who are different than you, and they're all individuals.
Sure. As you said, you arrived in July, but then you were thrown in the deep end straight away somewhat with the 2023 Korea Volleyball Federation, the KOVO Cup, which ran from July 29th to August 5th. It's a tournament which involves all 7 V-League teams ahead of the regular season. It seemed like it was a bit of a rough start with 3 losses out of 3 for the team. What was it like experiencing the V-League teams in person for the first time? Have your views on the V-League changed at all since then?
Yeah, that was interesting. I basically had, I think, four training sessions with the team before we went on that. So I think, fortunately, I think we kind of all understood a lot of things were in flux, and it was a little bit less about the result that we got and more about establishing a ground floor to progress from. So, I mean, of course, you still hate losing anytime you're on the court and you're competing. So it's just a little extra motivation for our training block there. And then, yeah, it's invaluable just getting to see the other teams and how the game is reffed. There's always some slight differences between how different leagues are going to ref certain calls and certain aspects of the game. So I'm actually really glad I was able to get out here before the KOVO Cup because, like I said, when the management made the coaching change, I got out here real quick, and which was a challenge. But I'm glad I got there before the KOVO Cup, just getting to see everything live, and then that set us up for our latest training block. And now just it's about putting in the hard work.
Has there been anything different that you've seen about the way they play here in Korea?
No, I feel like I disappoint everybody because they always maybe expect things to be pretty different. I mean, like from a dry nuts and bolts, yeah, there's certain offensive patterns that are a little less common here or a little more common somewhere else, but a lot of that's kind of technical nuance. Like I said, I think just once you hit the court, I think athletes are athletes, people are people. The players here work hard; they want to win. I mean, they have an awesome spirit. So that is pretty fun to just kind of see that, and mostly just fun. It's exciting. The fan energy is pretty cool. That's one thing that I do think V League does a pretty nice job of putting on a kind of a show for the fans and a lot of music, a lot of energy, a lot of hype in the arena. So that just makes it fun to compete in.
Okay, and then how are preparations going ahead of the new season? Are you confident? What are your goals for the upcoming season?
Yeah, I never in my coaching make like specific goals. For me, it's just more about the trend. So we have to get better. We have to improve. It doesn't matter whether you just won the championship or you were last place in the league. Everybody's got to get better, and certainly we do. So we're on the right track. We're definitely making some improvements. But what I've told the team is every single team is going to be better in October than they were in the KOVO Cup. Every team's got a training block. They're all going to get better. We have to not only get better, we have to get better faster than the other teams are improving. So we're definitely better. And it's just a question of how fast we're going to get better. And then the main goal we have is I want to be the most improved team from KOVO Cup to the start of the season. And then I want to be the most improved team from the start of the season to the end of the season. If we do that, I think the record will take care of itself.
And finally, what message do you have for the fans? What can they expect to see?
Well, they expect to see a team that's going to work hard, that's going to play fast, that's going to get after it. We have fun when we play. We play fearless. We play fast. That's our goal. That's what fans are going to see if they come out.
Well, best of luck for the season ahead. I'm sure the fans will be eager to see what the AI Peppers bring this year. We'll wrap it up there. We've been speaking to Joe Trinsey, the head coach of the Gwangju Pepper Savings Bank AI Peppers. Thank you once again for your time today.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.